Hello and welcome to my website and app presentation for Education 204. My website today is Kahoot and my app is Remind. So a little bit about me. My name is Sydney Taylor and I am a history teaching major for the high school level. Once I receive my degree, I would like to move back home to Northern Kentucky and acquire a teaching job at one of the local high schools there. In my ideal classroom, I would be teaching world or U.S. history to students in a fun and interactive way. Many of my past history teachers were very lecture heavy, and as a student I became easily bored and restless. I don't want my students to feel that way in my classroom, so I plan to lecture a lot less and use more activities and games to keep them entertained. This is where my website and app will help me. So now onto my website. My website's Kahoot, so a little bit about Kahoot. Kahoot is an awesome tool to use in the classroom. Kahoot is ideal for giving students a fun way to study before a test or a quiz. Kahoot is very similar to the Jeopardy games that many of us played in high school. It is different though because students will compete as individuals instead of in groups, and they get to use their own technology. Teachers can also make a Kahoot really easily. It's not hard to do. And it's free, so that's always a benefit. And it gives the students information to review for the test, which is super important. So some options that you have to set up your Kahoot are quiz Kahoots, jumble Kahoots, discussion Kahoots, or survey Kahoots. Also, if you are running short on time or you don't really want to make your own Kahoot, Kahoot has plenty of options for already made Kahoots that you can use in your classroom. So the picture on the screen, it shows the Kahoots that I've made in the past. So I have a survey Kahoot, a quiz Kahoot, and a jumble Kahoot. Alright, now to focus more in depth on the Kahoots. First up, we'll look at the quiz Kahoot. The quiz Kahoots put timers on each question while students try to answer them correctly. The teacher can change the amount of time to as much as 60 seconds, which you can see can be done right here on that picture. This Kahoot method also keeps a score for your class and tells you who the top 5 out of all the students participating are. The score is figured out by if the student answers the question correctly and how fast they submit their answer. By using a quiz Kahoot, the teacher can incorporate positive reinforcements by maybe offering a bonus point on your test or candy rewards for those top 5 the top 5 winners in your class, or just the winner in general. In my opinion, these are the best study tools for students because it allows feedback and forces fun and quick studying. So on the picture, you can see what it'll look like when you set it up. You can choose to award points or not. You can change the time limit. And this is where you'll put your question. You can add a picture if you'd like or a video, and then you can put in you have to have at least 2 answers, and then you'll click which one is the correct one on the little check mark. So now on to survey and discussion Kahoots. These are very similar, so I've combined them together because they function almost exactly the same way. These Kahoots are good to use when you are attempting to prompt a discussion in your class. In the past, I have used the survey Kahoot to talk about a book that we read for class and discuss the big important points of it. Survey will show the responses in a bar graph form, and it will allow teachers to take the time to talk about each question. If you look at the picture, you'll see what it looks like. So you have your question up here. This is what it looks like for the student. So you'll have your question up here. You can put in a picture like I have. This is how much time they have left to answer. Once they start answering, it'll flow in right here with the amount of answers you have, so you can see if you're missing students or not. And then these are all your answers that they can choose from. So let's see. Survey Kahoots are great for getting honest opinions out of your students because they know their responses are anonymous. So unless you specifically call on them, they won't have to tell the whole class that they chose the red answer and everyone else chose the blue one. And discussion Kahoots work exactly the same as a survey Kahoot. So now on to Jumble Kahoots. This is a new feature that Kahoot has recently added. This allows teachers to test students' ability to organize and will also give scores and leaderboard stats. So to the left is the picture. So you will put in your question right here. You can add your image like always and change the time here. You can choose to award points or not. So if you want it to run more like a quiz Kahoot, you can keep the points on and it'll tell you, who the top 5 are in your class and how fast they're answering and everything. Or you can turn it off and make it more like a discussion. And then down here is where you'll put in your answers, and when the students play, they'll have to put them in order of what happened. So I did mine on to order the wars from oldest to most current. So I have in the 4 options and they'll have to put them in order on their screen. And this tool is a new tool, but I think it would work really well in your classroom. So Kahoot is definitely in the technology for in our tech-savvy world. It's really up-to-date learning tool that teachers can effectively use to help their students study well, and it's so adaptable. I can help multiple students in my classroom using the same Kahoot. For example, if I have ELL learners in my class, I'm able to change the language of the Kahoot to their native language so they don't have to worry about not understanding questions. Also, some students do not work well under pressure or time constraints, so I can help dissolve their anxiety by taking those away or to give them as much time as possible to answer the question. Kahoot is great for all students for many reasons, and one of those is that it facilitates healthy competition in the classroom by presenting challenges that they haven't seen that they have to compete against each other to win. Also, it gives a variety to what happens in the classroom, so instead of taking lecture notes all the time or working on a worksheet, they get to play a fun game. And they're studying and they don't even realize that they're starting to pick up on more content. And finally, Kahoot can fill in the gaps that students did not pick up when you first covered the material, so they better understand it and do better on the test. So now on to Remind. This is my app. So a little bit about Remind. This app is great for students, teachers, and parents. It allows the teachers to help both students and parents keep up to date about what's happening in the classroom, when homework is due or when a test or quiz is coming up. With this app, text will be sent from the teacher to a subscriber's phone, and the best part is that all the subscriber and teacher numbers will stay anonymous, as students and parents will sign up with a code that you give them, or you can send out an email link for them to sign up. Another great tool about Remind is that teachers can create different groups for different classes, so all your classes won't run together. You'll have a separate class for each one of your classes, so all classes stay up to date on what's happening in their own class. This app also keeps students accountable. Students who don't use planners or forget what needs to be done for class the next day can receive a reminder text from the Remind app to do the tasks that are due tomorrow. Also, by allowing parents to sign up to be a part of the classroom reminders, they'll be able to stay up to date and know what is due for their children to make sure that they're accountable at home where your teacher can't be present. This app is a great tool for students to start working on being accountable for themselves with a slight push. So here's some images of what Remind would look like from the app. So looking at the picture on the left, you'll see that I have created a U.S. history class where I can add students and parents in order to keep them up to date. So you can add them directly by clicking on this button. You can share a link with them, or you can show them how to join. So depending on how your class is set up or how you're reaching your parents, you might choose differently. And then once you start adding people, the roster will appear down here and it'll come up with their name and then what their title is. So student or parent, and you might have another teacher in the class. So you can do that there. The picture on the right shows a welcome message that Remind helps you create for your classroom. So it tailors to what your needs of the classroom are and what you're going to be doing in your class. Also, if you want to add a picture, you can click right here and it'll add a picture for you. Awesome. Okay, so more Remind images. So the image on the left shows the 2 types of messages that you can send to your subscribers. You can send a class announcement, which goes to everyone. So like, don't forget to bring your textbook tomorrow is the example that they give. The other one is conversations. So their example is, Sarah, great effort today. So those will be more private to your students. So if you wanted to compliment or you wanted to let them know about a behavior that they're doing in class that you are not going to tolerate, you can do it that way. Then on to the middle one. So you can see I have my classes here. I just have my U.S. history class, but you can select which class you want to send to, and you can select the people you want to send to. And like I said, this is one of the students, and it comes up with the title, so you know what their title is. And then also you have your recent groups here. So a fun fact, you can create a selective group. So you can do that by clicking create new recent group. This is a great tool for like if you're going on a field trip and you have a group of parents coming with you to chaperone, you can create a group for just them, so you are able to keep up to date with them and not bother the rest of the class. And then the last image shows me sending out a text to my students for about a worksheet that they have due in class tomorrow. So I can add a picture, or I can hit the translate button for students who might need it in a different language. So yeah, it's very simple. And finally, so Remind can meet the needs of all your students. This app is great for helping all of them. It can be signed up for very easily and is a good resource that is up to date in our tech-savvy world. For students with disabilities, they might not be able, depending on the disability, to check their own Remind. Therefore, it's really important to have your parents signed up for this app too, so they can get the text to help out their child. For ELL students, this app is also great because I can change the languages in here. So if I have students who would rather receive a message in their native language, I can do that and send it to them, and they don't have to worry about not understanding the text or missing out on information. For students who are gifted, I can include them into a group chat that's separate from the rest of the class and have them work on more advanced worksheets or fun assignments that relate to the topics we're talking about, so they're not sitting in class bored. Some students also work better with visuals or audio. So to the left is the picture that you can see. I can actually add a photo or record a voice clip for them. So if they prefer that, I can do what I'm doing now and record an audio clip to send to them. Or if they'd rather have a picture of what's happening, I can do that. And that makes it a lot easier for them. All right, that's all I have for you. I hope you learned a lot about Remind and Kahoot and consider using it in your classrooms. Awesome, thank you.